Hello everyone. So this is a continuation of previous video. So where we saw first come first serve scheduling algorithm. Here we will be seeing the next scheduling algorithms. So next scheduling algorithm is shortest job first, where first we have to compare the process, which process is having least shortest or least CPU burst. So allocate the least CPU burst time first, then you go allocate the process under incremental order of the burst cycle. So here we'll take an example of 4 process with burst time 6, 8, 7, 3. It's very simple. Take a process which is having shortest time. Shortest burst time will be allocated first. So in 6, 8, 7, 3, 3 is the shortest number, like small number. So P4 is a process which is allocated first. So P4 is allocated first. At the 0th second, P4 is allocated. So what happens? Once P4 got allocated, then 3 was allocated. P4 got allocated first. So next, what we'll do with 6, 8, 7, we have to see which is shortest. 6 is the shortest one. So P1 is allocated at second place. So 6 was allocated from 3. So 3 plus 6, it gives 9. So out of 8 and 7, 7 is the shortest. So P3 got allocated at third place from 9 to 8. 9 plus 8, it is 16. So next remaining is 8, which is P2, which is allocated at fourth place. So 16 plus 8 is 24. So average waiting time for the P4 process, it was 0. So we'll see average waiting time of all the process. P4 it was 0, P1 it is 3, P1 it is 3, P2 it is 16, P3 it is 9 and P4 it is 0. Okay. So we got average waiting time for P1, P2, P3 and P4. P1 waited for 3 seconds, P3 waited for 9 seconds, P2 waited for 16 seconds and P4 waited for 0 seconds. So average waiting time is waiting time of all these divided by 4, that is 7. So determining length of CPU's next burst time can also be made. Like here we know P1 is having burst time of this much, P2 is of this much, but CPU operating system has to predict what is the next CPU burst time for the next process. To do that, we have a formula Tn, actual length of nth CPU burst time. Like if you take P1, it will tell you actual length of nth CPU burst. Tau n plus 1, predicate value of next CPU cycle. Alpha, which is alpha value is less than or equal to 0, alpha value lies between 0 to 1. So we define the next cycle for t equal to n as alpha Tn, which is actual time predicted, 1 plus alpha value which is less than 0 and tau n. Tau n is predicted value. Alpha with actual time of n plus 1 minus alpha value with predicted value of n gives n plus 1. Sorry, this is not equal n equal 1, it is n plus 1. So tau n plus 1. Tau n plus 1 means we know nth value. The process Pn value we know. So Pn value, what actually took, what actually we found, means what actually was predicted. With the help of alpha adding to it, we get the next prediction value, like Pn plus 1's prediction value, burst cycle value. So to determine this, we have a graph. Ti, CPU cycle Ti was 6, 4, 6, 4, 13 and 13 so on, which was CPU burst, and guess is tau I. CPU burst, actual CPU burst is Ti and guess was tau I. So guess was almost similar at the end of the processes. Next one is shortest jump first with the help of arrival time. So we have a concept of primitive and non-primitive. if a process which is allocated for execution and it is not like shifting from one process to another process for execution until it completes its execution, we call it as non-preemptive, preemptive version. If the process which is allocated with a CPU burst time and it won't shift to any other process until its execution is completed, we call it as non-preemptive. If a process starts executing and it can change the process for execution and go for waiting state, we call it as preemptive. If we have arrival time, based on arrival time for the preemptive, shortest job first allocation is done like this. So we have to first see, instead of checking burst cycle, first we have to see arrival time. So our Gantt chart starts with 0. At 0th second, which process arrived first? So we have only one process arrived first, which is P1. So allocate P1, execute it for 1 second. So 8 minus 1 will be equal to 7. So 8 has finished 1 second's execution minus 7. At 1th execution, like at 1 second, is any process arrived? Yes, P2 has arrived. Now compare 7 with 4. 4 is shorter, so P1 will go for waiting state and P2 starts execution. At 2nd second, it has went to 3, 4 has reduced to 3, 2 has arrived, P2 has arrived. Compare 3 with 9. P2 is only having shortest time. At 3rd second, 3 seconds will go to 2 seconds. Now compare 9 and 5 with 2. So P2 has to execute complete 4 seconds. So P2 will execute its execution till 4, 3, 2, 1 and 0. So P2 has completely executed its burst time. So next compare 7, 9 and 5, which is shorter? 5. So allocate it for P4. So P4 will after 4th second there is no any process arriving, so P4 will take 5 seconds of burst time. After P4 got executed, compare with 7 and 9. So 7 is shorter, P1 will be allocated first and execute the P1 of 7 second. So next at 17th second, only left out is 9, that is P3 process, allocated to P3, complete its execution. It will complete at 23rd second. So to calculate average waiting time, P1 was having started second at 10th minute, like from the last where P1 was allocated completely. So it was started at 10th second minus how long P1 got executed in, like before. It got executed for 1 second. Next one is Next one is P2. P2 has 4 seconds, but it started at 1 second and arrival time was 1 second. So 1 minus 1, 0. P3 was started at 2nd second, but it was allocated at 17th second. 17 minus 2. Then comes P4. P4 has arrived at 3rd second, allocated at 5th second. 5 minus 3. So total waiting time was 26. 26 by 4, 6.5 milliseconds of average waiting time. So next one is priority scheduling. In priority scheduling, we'll be having priorities, like what is the priority of process. Based on the priority, what is the priority number, which process has highest priority will be allocated first and then the next process. See here, we'll take a priority of 1 as the high priority process. If the priority is 1, then it is having highest priority for execution. So based on the priority, allocate the process. So we have process, burst time and priority. First see the highest priority, which is having like our rank. First rank is like highest rank. So take a first priority 1. So P1 is having first priority, P2 is having first priority, burst time is 1, P2 is allocated first. Then P5 is having second priority, allocated for P5 at the second. from 1 to 6. So 5 is the burst time, 1 6 seconds. Next one is P1. So we have third priority for P1. Allocate P1, which is having burst time of 10 seconds. 6 plus 10, 16. Next one is P3. So fourth priority is for P3. Allocate P3. 16 plus 2, 18 milliseconds. Next fifth priority is for P4. So it is having burst time of 1 second. 18 plus 1, 19 seconds. Then can calculate average waiting time as before what we saw for shortest job first, and average waiting for time for this problem will be 8.2 milliseconds. Next method is round robin method. So prior we have seen, like in other three algorithm, we have seen how you shift your process based on first come first serve, based on shortest job and the arrival time. Next one was based on the priority. But in round robin, instead of shifting the process, we use any one method of first come first serve or shortest job first or priority method, and we divide CPU times as a time quantum, and based on the time quantum, each and every process is given with the equal amount of equal amount of execution time. Like if we consider time quantum is like 5 seconds, like 5 milliseconds. Every process is given with 5 milliseconds and complete the task. After completion of task, the process will leave the scheduling queue. So in round robin, we'll take an example of first come first serve method with round robin with the time quantum 4 milliseconds. So we have three processes with 24 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds and 3 milliseconds, but time quantum of round robin method is 4 for this example. So for the first process we have 24 milliseconds. So what we'll do, first we'll allocate P1 process from 0 to 4 and the burst time will reduce to 20. Then the next process is P2. So we'll allocate P2, but P2 has only 7 seconds which gets executed and time will be 7 seconds. Next P3 is allocated at 7 seconds, which is also less than 4. At 10 seconds P3 will also get executed. Next the left out is P1. Allocate P1 for again 4 seconds. It will reduce to 16. Next P1, it will reduce to 12 and so on till 0. What we'll do, P1 till 14 seconds, then P1 till 18 seconds, P1 till 22, P1 till 26, P1 till 30. So 30 minus what we'll do, 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 4, 12, 12 plus 4, 16, 16 plus 4, 20 and 20 plus 4, 24 time quantums. Like 24 burst time is allocated for P1 process, but all allocated with the time quantum of 4 milliseconds. So this is how round robin method is used for for time scheduling or process scheduling using time quantum. So time quantum and context switching is like in the process scheduling, not only process scheduling takes the time, but also context switching from one process to other process also takes time. So if the process time is 10 seconds, then if it is 12 quantum, context switching will take only 0 seconds. So if the time quantum is of 6 seconds, then what happens, the process time is 10 seconds, so 6 seconds was our CPU quantum. So first 6 seconds will be executed, then context switching happens for once. So for 6 second time quantum, context switching for 10 minutes, like 10 seconds of process time, context switching happens once. What if we have process time of 10 seconds and context switching, time quantum is of 1 second. So in round robin, what happens? Context switching happens 9 times for the process time 10 and quantum 1. So here, if the time quantum is smaller and the process time is like compared to process time, if the time quantum is very small, then context switching happens more time, so it consumes more time in CPU time is consumed more in context switching. Instead of taking a very less time quantum or very high time quantum should be the average value which suits the process time, such that the efficiency or CPU utilization will reach max. So I hope you understood the concept of process schedulings. Thank you.